So, herzlich willkommen. Schön, sind ihr alle da. Ich glaube, am Anfang stellen wir uns kurz schnell vor, wer wir sind, was wir heute genau machen. Willst du schnell anfangen?
Yes, ich bin der Lucia, aka Ruck P, Produzent, Musiker aus ursprünglich Murten, Biel, Bern, Zürich mittlerweile. Und ich bin angefragt worden von Red Bull, um Masterclass zu machen. Und ich habe dazu den OB geholt, weil er Part von Wav.Ryders ist. Und kannst du dich gerne noch vorstellen?
Genau, ich bin der Özgür, aka OB One, der Founder von Wav.Ryders. Wir haben das Ganze während Corona angefangen und haben ja mittlerweile auch schon über 70 Challenges können machen. Wir haben diverse Events organisiert. Wir haben jetzt auch schon 2 Retreats machen. Und ja, wir sind mega froh, dass wir da im Viadukt sein dürfen. Und da danke an Red Bull, also Shoutout an Henry und Binja, dass wir dort das Event hier umsetzen. Und ja, dass wir das auch in einem größeren Rahmen können, für euch bieten so. Wieso sind wir heute überhaupt da? Und zwar sind wir da wegen Red Bull 60 Seconds. Du bist ja eigentlich schon recht lang, also hast schon ein paar Sachen dafür mitproduzieren. Willst du sonst schnell erklären, was das Konzept ist von der Red Bull 60 Seconds? Also es geht ja darum, es sind ja Artists, die ja 60 Sekunden rappen auf Social Media. Und man kann ja wie Sachen einreichen, also wie darauf bitten, es wird auf Social Media aufgeladen mit dem Hashtag Red Bull 60 Seconds. Und, jetzt wäre ich mega froh, könntest du übernehmen.
Genau, also einerseits es gibt 60 Seconds Format, das schon ein bisschen etabliert ist, mit etablierten KünstlerInnen. Da haben wir wirklich schweizweit schon hochrangige Namen gehabt. Es geht aber auch darum, dass es sehr viele Nachwuchstalente gibt, die da gerne Part of it sein wollen. Und darum hat Red Bull entschieden, dass sie wie einen Contest machen, wo man sich einreichen kann. Also man kann quasi ihre Idee einreichen und dann wird das von einer Jury beurteilt.
Oder ausgewählt.
Ausgewählt, genau. Mhm. Und wir haben wie versucht, einen Link zum heutigen Event zu machen. Und es ist ja so, dass schlussendlich gibt es ein Halbfinale und ein Finale, wo diverse ausgewählte Artists gegeneinander über den gleichen Beat werden etwas schreiben. Und die Idee wäre, dass eigentlich für ein Halbfinale und für ein Finale ein Beat von hier, von heute, wo heute entsteht, ausgewählt wird.
Genau. Und die Idee ist auch, dass wo wir uns sehr dafür stark gemacht haben, dass auch Leute, die die Beats machen, auch eine Entlöhnung bekommen. Wie viel aber das wird genau sein und wie die Auswahlverfahren wird sein, werden wir dann sicher in den nächsten paar Wochen dann sicher bekannt geben. Wir haben euch ja schon im Vorfeld gesagt, es wird eine Beat Challenge geben, aber ich glaube, wir kommen dann später dann am besten einfach dazu. So. Haben wir noch irgendetwas vergessen für 60 Seconds? Oder?
Ich glaube, für den Moment ist gut.
Okay. Alright, also, was passiert heute alles? Wir würden euch gerne kurz einen Abriss geben. Also wir haben heute sicher mal einen Talk von der Lauren Faith von London, einen Talk, also einen Input von der Mariama Jalloh und es wird auch ein Interview geben zusammen mit dem Manilio. Es werden Themen wie Kreativität, Musikrecht, Mental Health und auch Community Work sicher auch noch angesprochen. Aber bevor wir jetzt da voll eintauchen, würde ich jetzt gerne mal schnell wissen, wie ist das überhaupt ganz dazu gekommen, dass du jetzt für den Cypher-Track, wo wir am besten vielleicht noch schnell reinhören mal, ja. Oder den All-Star-Track, wie du dazu gekommen bist. Ich glaube, das ist jetzt der Cue für den Henry.
Wir zeigen schnell ein Beispiel.
Genau, wie das Ganze ausgesehen hat oder getönt hat.
Schau, ich mache einen Home Run, wenn ich auf den Pitch step, Suki don't miss. Keine Sick Days, Suki don't slip. Und du findest mich schick, geil, Bulli, no shit, no shit. Ich renn auf die Bühne, wenn es wegkickt. Haters sind am Haten, wo sie wissen, dass ich blessed bin. Samstagmorgen machen Giacometti, Sonne Bialetti für die Berry, die im Bett liegt. Samstagabend kochen ihre Jassa, bleiben daheim, wo wir draussen nichts verpassen. Ihre Fingernägel graben sich nicht, bitte sagt nicht ihrem Papa. Und sie können gönnen, wenn ich drop. Holy heavy ist mein Sack, mach den Henny in das Glas, yeah. Niemand kann sich messen, wenn ich drop. Hat mal gefressen, wenn ich drop. Homie, es geht nicht um Zahlen. Schau, ich bügle, esse, schlafen, komm, ich sterbe in meinem Stuhl. Ich hab Love in mir für Tausend, ich hab Glitzer in meinem Mund. Und ich spitte, wenn ich muss, pull den Trigger, wenn ich muss. On that side, ich bin der baddest bitch of lifetime.
Ja.
Ja.
Ja. Genau. Schnell die Vorstellung von dem. Das ist wie so ein bisschen das Best-of Jahresabschluss von Red Bull, von dem 60 Seconds Format. All die Artists haben schon eigene 60 Seconds gehabt, die sie auf einen Beat gerappt haben. Und die Idee von Red Bull war, dass es wie noch einen All-Star-Track gibt, so ein bisschen Cypher-Style, wo alle auf einen Beat gehen.
Und der ist ja momentan recht am Abgehen. Also ich sehe, Social Media spielt mir irgendwie jeden zweiten Tag das Video irgendwie hin. Aber noch,
Ja.
also ich höre einmal so den Beat und denke, ich muss jetzt einfach fertig hören. So. Willst du schnell erzählen, wie ist das Ganze irgendwie dazu gekommen? Also sprich, du hast wahrscheinlich irgendwie eine Anfrage bekommen und wie ist das Ganze abgelaufen? Also wie so die Erwartungshaltung erfüllen von Kundenseite, aber wahrscheinlich auch für die Artists, oder?
Ja, du bringst es eben auf den Punkt. Ich glaube, es war wirklich das Wichtigste gewesen, am Anfang, wo Red Bull auf mich zugekommen ist, dass die Idee, auf ein Beat 6 verschiedene Artists zu haben, dass das irgendwie funktioniert. Ich habe zusammen mit dem Rob, Producer, habe ich dann versucht, eine Skizze zu machen.
Mhm.
Wir haben mehrere Anläufe gebraucht, so, weil wir haben gefunden, wir haben wie One Shot. es ist wie wichtig, dass wir erstens den Kunden, also die Red Bull-Seite, wie auch die Artists können überzeugen, dass es einfach funktioniert so. Das ist, glaube ich, wie die grösste Herausforderung gewesen. So, wir sind ein paar Stunden hintergehockt und sind dann schlussendlich auf die Boom-Bap-Version gekommen, wo wir gefunden haben, wir hören darauf Suki wie auch Julix, wie auch natürlich so der EAZ-Zen, der schon auf diesen Beats rappen.
Wo noch mega gut funktioniert. So. Wo wir uns auf das Gespräch vorbereitet haben, habe ich dort wie so gefragt, hey, wie viel BPM ist eigentlich so der Song? Und ich habe es irgendwie einfach gerötelt und bin auf 91 BPM gekommen, was sie dann nachher vollgestimmt hat, lustigerweise. Du hast dann nachher erwähnt, dass es 20 Bars sind. Also es sind ja nicht Classic 16 Bars, sondern es sind ja wirklich 20. Und du hast dann nachher wie so erwähnt, um nachher den Übergang zu machen, braucht man noch wie so die 2 Bars. Ist das so der Gedanke gewesen, um nachher auch bei der Videoproduktion das auch mitzudenken?
Genau, weil es ist wie das Mal, ist es nicht einfach ein Track, der ausgespielt wird, sondern es braucht wie einen Wechsel. Und darum habe ich überlegt, wenn wir so einen Cypher machen, der super aufgenommen ist, in One Take, dann kann es nicht sein, dass einfach jeder nacheinander kommt. Darum habe ich gefunden, ich mache 20 Bars mit 91 BPM plus 2 Bars, die dann wie so ein bisschen quasi der Gap sein, wo man den Artist wechseln kann.
Voll smart.
Dann kommt es auf 58,6 Sekunden. So, das ist das nächste an 60 Seconds, wo wir sie angekommen, wo wir gefunden haben, da können wir dahinter stehen.
Wie war so der Vibe zwischen dir und dem Rob? Also, als wir ins Studio sind, wer hat ein bisschen was gemacht?
Hey, also der Rob ist sowieso immer sehr hyped, wenn er im Studio ist, was immer ein guter Vibe ist von Anfang an. Und ich kenne den Rob schon lange und ich weiss, er liebt so die West Coast Chords. Und darum habe ich schon mal gewusst, wir müssen irgendwie so an das Rhodes. Lustigerweise, ich habe etwas am Rhodes gemacht und er hat wie unten dran mit dem Bass etwas gemacht. Und gegen Schluss haben wir gemerkt, das ist eigentlich so wie die Chordabfolge muss es sein. Magic. Genau. Also von dem her, also mit dem Rob ist es super nice gewesen.
Geil. Und du hast mir dann dort auch noch so ein Beispiel gezeigt, dass du so Cypher-Parts von der Suki genommen hast,
Ja.
um es wie als Referenz zu brauchen.
Genau. Ich unterstelle jetzt mal den Clients, nicht allen, aber vielen Clients unterstelle jetzt mal, dass sie nicht vielleicht die Vorstellungskraft haben, wenn sie einfach ein Instrumental hören. Darum habe ich wie gefunden, ich gehe aus den Cypher-Parts vom Bounce-Cypher die A Cappellas rausnehmen, wie zum Beispiel von Suki und vom EAZ. Und dann konnte ich wie ein Beispiel machen auf diesen Beat, dass dass dann auch der Kunde sich vorstellen kann, wie könnte der Wechsel eben auch sein. Wie ist das, wenn da die 2 Bars noch dazwischen sind.
Mhm. Hast aber auch Glück gehabt, weil ich glaube, Zuki hat ja nicht auf einen Classic Boom Bap Beat im Cypher gerappt, soviel ich mich erinnere. Und dass es nachher auf diesen Beat nachher gematcht hat, ist geil.
Ja, ist ein gutes Zeichen gewesen, dass der Beat eigentlich auch gut funktioniert.
Voll.
So. Ja.
Kann es sein, dass ich glaube im letzten Part, ich glaube im Julix hat es noch 2, 3 Elemente, die neu dazukommen.
Mhm.
So wie,
so ein bisschen Special Effects.
Ja, genau.
Ja, genau. Das haben wir ein bisschen den Artists auch überlassen, was sie noch alles reinbringen mit Breaks und so weiter. Ein paar haben wir auch vorgeschlagen, aufgrund von den Lyrics, die sie geschrieben haben. Und das hat sich dann so ein bisschen ergeben, dass halt die 6 Minuten doch ein bisschen Abwechslung haben.
Ja, sonst wird es ein bisschen zu eintönig oder so, ja, Jackie. Hey, was mich trotzdem noch wundernimmt, so, also du hast ja wie jetzt mega lang Musik, also machst ja schon mega lange Musik so, und du hast ja trotzdem jetzt so die Anfrage bekommen, weil du halt schon mega lang dabei bist. Erzähl schnell so, wie ist für dich so die ganze Laufbahn, also von, ich meine, wir haben ja alle irgendwie die Hause oder im Studio angefangen Musik zu machen und jetzt plötzlich bist du bei Red Bull, bei so einer riesen Plattform. Hat ja schon auch so seine Zeit gebraucht, um überhaupt so einen Auftrag zu bekommen. Also es ist ja nicht einfach so, dass man einfach so einen Auftrag bekommt von Red Bull.
Hey, es ist schon ein bisschen so, dass ich kann mich nicht einfach bewerben und sagen, hey, ich bin ein krasser Produzent, darf ich für euch produzieren? So. Ich glaube, es hat schon ein bisschen damit zu tun, dass ich eine gewisse Reputation habe, jetzt, mit Swiss Artists im Rap-Bereich vor allem, habe ich halt schon recht viel produziert in den letzten 15 Jahren. Und das spricht sich halt irgendwo durch auch um. Und so war es eigentlich, dass wie Red Bull aktiv auf mich zugekommen ist, wo sie sich auch überlegt haben, mit wem können wir arbeiten, der schon mit verschiedenen Artists geschafft hat und nicht nur mit einem spezifisch.
Ja, wenn man schon verschiedene Artists redet, dann ist ja sicher so Max, Herre und Joy Denelane sicher der Name so. Also du bist ja auch schon mit denen im Studio gewesen. Ist wahrscheinlich schon nochmal etwas anderes, als mit denen im Studio zu sein, als mit jemandem, wo du vielleicht schon seit 10 Jahren Musik machst oder vielleicht, also mehr so um das Verhältnis ein bisschen zu werten. So. Ist wahrscheinlich schon auch so ein bisschen ein gewisser Druck, wenn wir mit denen nachher im Studio sind, nicht?
Hey, also Max Herre und Joy Dinalani ist natürlich ein gutes Beispiel, weil sie so meine Jugendhelden. So, bevor ich anfange Musik machen, habe ich sie schon gehört. Und als ich dann zumal die Anfrage bekommen habe, an ihrem Album zu arbeiten, bin ich schon zuerst schnell ein bisschen starstruck gewesen, so. Weil, ja,
Oh mein Gott!
ja, so ein bisschen so. Weil wir waren auch dort im Studio, ich habe sie eine Viertelstunde gesehen und habe mich zuerst mal ein bisschen sammeln, was das anbelangt.
Ja, akklimatisieren.
Akklimatisieren. Und schlussendlich, wirklich nach dieser Viertelstunde sind wir im Studio gehockt und sie haben mir die Gitarre in die Hand gedrückt, so im Stil, ja, jetzt mach mal etwas.
Geil.
Ja, da kommt dann so ein bisschen das Imposter-Syndrom schnell rein.
Ja.
Aber ich habe wie gewusst, es gibt einen Grund, warum ich jetzt da bin, warum ich ausgewählt worden. Und ja, also es ist zum Glück genau die ersten Chords, die ich gespielt habe, ist auch die erste Single geworden von diesem Album.
Geil.
Genau. Ja.
Ich glaube, man muss sich immer so ein bisschen wieder so vor den Augen behalten, also hey, der Druck kann wie geben und Fehler können wie auch passieren. Und auch wenn sie so deine Jugendhelden sind, am Ende des Tages sind sie auch Menschen so und auch sie haben ihre Fehler, wie wir ja auch. Und dass man auch wie so ein bisschen versucht, so Selbstvertrauen so ein bisschen zu entwickeln. Ich habe zum Beispiel auch jetzt mit dem Dylan für Speed Retreat haben wir auch über das geredet, so dass die Leute eigentlich wie so ihre Value manchmal wie nicht kennen, weil sie so wie das Gefühl haben, ja, ich bin wie noch nicht genug gut, oder? Wie hast du das irgendwie entwickelt die letzten paar Jahre? Was hast du gemacht, dass so wie kannst zum Beispiel in so einer Session mit Max Herre und Joy Denelane kannst du reingehen und sagen, ich gebe jetzt einfach mein Bestes, oder wie hast du es gemacht?
Ja, ich glaube, es hat auch damit zu tun, dass man Erfahrungen sammelt und immer so aus dieser Comfortzone rausgeht. Ich habe mich oft verwünscht, dass eine Anfrage ist reingekommen und ich eigentlich zur Sicherheit mal sagen, ja, nein, ich bin nicht dabei, ich habe keine Zeit oder was auch immer. Aber schlussendlich bin ich eigentlich immer belohnt worden, für mich zu trauen, in eine Session zu gehen, wo ich das Gefühl habe, ich kann zu wenig dazu beitragen. Schlussendlich hat es mehr als gut geklappt. Darum, ich glaube, das ist einfach wie, man muss Erfahrung sammeln, dass dass es funktioniert und schlussendlich wird man belohnt.
Mhm. Was auch noch, wo wir bei der Vorbereitung geredet haben, hast du mir so das mit der Crow, mit dieser Single für Smooth, wo du gesagt hast, eben so, du hast irgendwie am Nachmittag einen Call bekommen vom Schuko, von dem deutschen Producer.
Yes.
Und er hat so gefunden, ja, er stellt sich irgendetwas vor mit so Daft Punk-mäßig. Und ich finde es noch eine lustige Story. Du hast uns erzählt, du bist ja nachher einfach ins Studio gegangen und hast voll auf Druck müssen arbeiten.
Ja.
Und ich glaube, das funktioniert manchmal leider halt auch noch gut, dass wenn die Leute so finden, okay, ich muss jetzt am 11:45 noch etwas abgeben.
Was dort ist, ich halt wirklich pokert. Weil er hat mir eben kurz nach dem Nachmittag geschrieben, hat so gesagt, hey, ich suche so ein bisschen Daft Punk Sachen für eine Crow, ob ich etwas habe. Und dann habe ich gesagt, aha, ja, ey, ich habe Sachen, ich schicke dir es am Abend, wenn ich daheim bin. So.
Dabei hast du einfach nicht gehabt.
Nichts. Und darum bin ich bin halt wirklich, ich habe dann noch gerade bei der Arbeit gesagt, ich muss gehen, tschüss zusammen. Und halt innerhalb von 2 Stunden ich einfach gewusst, ich kann gar nicht gross experimentieren, ich muss jetzt etwas in diese Richtung machen. Ich habe es ihm geschickt und 2 Tage später habe ich schon eine Demo bekommen mit dem Crow drüber.
Crazy.
Ja.
Und der Song ist ja Platin gegangen.
Also so filmerisch, das Album ist jetzt Gold, aber wir waren Nummer 1 gewesen.
Okay.
Ja.
Wild. Einfach pokern und nachher Platz 1 Chart dazu, krass. Hey, ich weiss nicht, ob ihr vielleicht noch eine spezielle Frage an Lucien habt, a.k.a. Ruck P, die ihr vielleicht irgendwann mal stellen wollt. Ja. Hey, sonst können wir es im Fall, glaub, mal bei dem so mal stehen lassen. Ich danke dir vielmals für den Einblick. So. Mega hilfreich gewesen. Ich glaube, wir machen jetzt kurz schnell 15, ja, vielleicht eher so um 10:30 machen wir sicher weiter. Bis dahin, holt euch einen Drink und wir freuen uns nachher auf den Talk mit Mariama Jalloh und mit der Lauren Faith. Bis nachher. Okay, kleine Planänderung. Wir machen direkt weiter.
What's up, what's up, what's up? Hello. How you guys doing? Good, good. Okay, yes. Hi everybody, so my name is Mariama and you already heard that we're talking with Lauren Faith today, who I also have my notes on my phone today. I didn't print them out, so let's see how this works for me.
Oh, good.
But yeah, Lauren, we're so excited to have you here. I mean, you're a producer who has already sold platinum and you have so many amazing collaborations. I think the one that people always mention is Kate Renada and Craig David, but you've also worked with artists like Kamal Williams, Aluna, and Dua Saleh, and then also with the K-pop group NTC Do Jejung.
Yeah.
So, and you're also a songwriter and an artist in your own right. I mean, your first single has like 2 million streams or whatever on Spotify, probably maybe even more as we speak. So, you have so much insight to share with us, and I hope it's fine for everybody that this talk is in English. If you ever need some translations, I can translate to German, not Swiss German. I hope that's fine too. Yeah, but so for all the beat producers here in the room, I think you really want to pay very, very good attention because I think we can learn a lot today. Thank you for being here. Give it up for Lauren Faith.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Yes, I would like to hear from you first. How did you get into music production and what has shaped your style?
So when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I started playing instruments, and that led me to always wanting to do music and feeling like that was like my home. So when I got to about age 15 or 16, and it was like that time where you're about to go to college, you're figuring out what you're going to do, I was like, it's music for me. So I went to a music technology school, and I first was then exposed to Pro Tools and software, and it was suddenly like all these like ideas of like composition and songwriting that I always had done and just naturally done as a kid, I could finally put into a computer, and then it sits there, and then I can bounce it out, and it exists. So that was like my first introduction into like producing of some sort, of just being able to get my composition ideas into the software. And around that time, because I'm 31, so I'm a lot older than I think all of you. I'm old. I'm not old, but that was like the SoundCloud like golden era. So K Tronada, like Sango, Esther, Joe K with Solection, like that was all just starting to like just bloom and like come up, and because I was 16 at the time, 16, 17. So I started uploading like demos, just like from like GarageBand that I was making with my vocals on it, and like just some of my really bad beats at that point. Like they were so bad, it was so lo-fi, painful. And I just kept doing it, and there was like this whole community within SoundCloud that like would share stuff and like message each other on SoundCloud. And JMSN, this artist from LA, I don't know if you guys know of JMSN. He makes he's dope. He reached out to me because he had seen like something that I had posted. I think it was called Without You, and Solection had reposted it. And so that was kind of like, that kind of put me on the LA West Coast map first. Like, not crazy, but just like, people were like, oh, who's this girl? And Jameson reached out, and then that was like my first LA trip to go work with him for 3 weeks. But so around this time, so basically what I'm trying to say is that's like how I first was establishing, getting recognized and acknowledgement of just like existing by putting out demos through SoundCloud. Then the K Tronada thing came through SoundCloud. So maybe this is when I'm like, I must have been 19 at this point now. So still just doing sessions in London, like trying to just network and meet people and just get out there and perfect my skill. And I'm still super early at this point. But I think I'd just been putting out more things. And then Matt Dodds, who was Craig David's former manager, he reached out to me and was like, would you like to write for Craig's new album? Would love to have you do it. And I was like, obviously, like this is crazy. So I go to the session, there's me, Craig David, and Trey Jean-Marie, and we're all just like figuring out what we're gonna do. And Craig's like, oh, I've got this like, I've got this big folder of beats from this producer called K Tronada. I'm like, what? Like, so K Tronada is like, obviously like having his moment. He hasn't done 99.9% yet, but he's still like doing all these cool remixes and like the Be Your Girl, the Tidra Moses thing, like, and me, Trey, and Craig are in the studio. We're going through these beats, and then we find the Got It Good beat, and we find another beat called Sink or Swim, which is on Craig's album. Didn't go on Cage's album, but it went on Craig's. We just wrote the songs in that day, and then didn't think anything of it. And then maybe 6-7 months later, like, it's confirmed it's going on Craig's album, confirmed it's going on Kay's. And that was my first official cut that was like not like SoundCloud kind of thing, because like before it was just like kind of amateur, like just chilled. But like that was like my first, oh my God, it's on Spotify. Oh my God, it's like, you know, like an official release. And then just kept like working. I did some more stuff with like K Tronada at that point. That's like where our relationship kind of like developed. So like it's like 2 of my singles. And at the same time, I was like perfecting, like really going in on production and taking it more seriously. Because before it was just like an artist and songwriter thing. I've kind of skipped quite a few things right now.
So but you actually started out more as an artist than a producer, or what would you say?
I'd say all. Like I used the artist thing to kind of like, I used my vocal, although I've never wanted to be a singer, ironically. It's not my thing. I get quite shy. I like being behind like the board, not in front of it kind of thing. But I used it as a way of getting, I used it as a tool to get recognition and to be seen, visibility. So like it was a way, because back then when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, like there really were less women that were producing. Like now we're starting to see, we're seeing the years of work and it's starting to come to fruition. Like we've been here the whole time, but it's having the visibility and the recognition, and people actually now, male allies, are actually being like, no, you should put them in the room. Like, I'm now noticing such a shift that people are putting me in the rooms now and like acknowledging it. So I don't know, I just think the production thing was always a thing, but I just had to like use other things like my vocal and the songwriting to get to root it, to navigate it, right? So if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would also like to know, since you said that you use your vocals, maybe to like put yourself out there as a tool. When it comes to production itself, when it comes to the style that you've developed for yourself, how did you go about that? Did you always, focus more like on playing, or did you use samples, or what was like your process when you develop your style?
I feel like my style is still developing, but as an artist, I always have a go-to of like Rhodes and like jazzy, soulful chords. I guess. What was the question again? Sorry. Yeah. No, I'm just thinking. Yeah.
Do you work more, as now you're mentioning instruments and chords, and do you you approach your productions, and is your style more based on playing instruments, or do you also work with samples, or how did you?
Both. If we're talking just about production, then when I'm producing for other people, it can be based around just purely compositions or a sample. It's whatever I find grabs the ear and it feels really distinct, like it just distinct and it stands out. That's what I go for. I'm trying to find the thing that makes you like, oh, what is this, to grab you. So if that's a sample, if it's a synth, if it's just a bass line, if it's a drums, like whatever it is what I find important. Yeah.
And you've been talking about learning about softwares and stuff. Is there do you have a favorite software to work with?
Logic for sure, but I'm starting to get into FL, as I was saying to the guys, and I like Pro Tools for vocals. But yeah, everyone in LA uses Pro Tools for vocals because it's the best. Yeah, but I like Logic. Logic's my thing.
Yeah, that's so interesting because everybody has their own way. Like they go to one software maybe for one thing, and then they do other things in a different software. So it's was it something that came easy for you to get your head or wrap your head around all these different ways of working with softwares?
Yeah, I mean, the Logic now just feels like just like opening a Word document because it's so familiar. I think anything that's a software or something that you have to learn, you just need to spend time with, and like the more time you spend with it, the greater and the quicker you'll become at it. So it's like, it's just one of those things. The more time you put in, the better you'll become, you know?
You were just mentioning also that that there were like so few women producers that you saw, and do you follow that? Like, do you follow like statistics, and do you keep up with how the development is going? Yeah,
I'm very passionate about it because we are, we're all part of this really small percentage. It's heavily dominated. It's only 4.5% of women that have been, like in the past year, on the top Billboard 100 that are credited as producers. So it is really still a small percentage, but it does feel the past 2 years, like people on the rise, like my friend Alicia, she's just gone for Producer of the Year at the Grammys because no woman has ever won Producer of the Year at the Grammys yet. I just think it's a visibility thing, and I think it's just, I've had so many discussions about it. I think once we have just a woman that's done incredible work, that's had like the success of, say, like a #1 album and all these things, it will just open the door and it will just become normal instead of it being like a novelty, And then it's just like somebody that works in an office that's a male or a female. It doesn't have to be a thing, but it has to be spoken about because the percentages are so low, and why are they so low? It's a question.
Do you feel that, do you work primarily in male-dominated spaces? And is this like something that you feel as a woman being in space? Like, does it change? Does it shift? For example, if you're like in more like female spaces, or do you feel that as a producer that there's a difference?
I used to, when I was younger, when maybe I wasn't as experienced. Yeah, I definitely felt it then, but I don't now. And I feel like the rooms I'm in are sometimes heavily male, sometimes heavily women. It's mixed. It's neither here or there. It depends where I'm working, who I'm working with, and I think that's what you guys will find as well. Like, will know already. You know, depending on the artist you're working with, or if you're doing rap, predominantly male, or if it's, you know, American Glorilla rap, then you're going to be with all do you know what I mean? It depends. You just have to be adaptable, and it changes. But it definitely used to upset me, for sure, like, just to feel like I would speak and not be heard in the room. But like, that's where you become more relentless and you get more drive, and it's like, okay, cool, but I'm just not going to put myself in rooms that don't appreciate me, and you create the rooms that do appreciate you, you know? And that's not even a gender thing, that's just like a life thing, you know? Go where you're appreciated, and if you're not appreciated there, create a space where you are, you know? Make music with people that appreciate you, that listen to you, that artists that want to work with you, that believe in your sound, and just grow it. Yeah.
What would you say are like skills that you definitely need to develop, apart from being a good producer musically, in order to collaborate?
I think we can always become greater at anything. I could practice my instruments more. I definitely could do that. I haven't done that for a while. I just only use them when I'm like playing them in production. So, I don't know. I guess maybe perfecting my skills of FL and Pro Tools, like things like that. Like, we can always grow. There's always space to. We're never our greatest. A wise man knows he knows nothing at all, right? So, there's always room.
And what makes good collaborations for you? Like when you are in a room with other people working together, what's important there?
The communication, and just both wanting to find the magic in it and feeling like elated and like bouncing around and being excited, I guess. I just feel like the energy of the room is important, and it's, again, it goes back to that, being in rooms that appreciate you, and like, because you're going to do your best work in a space where you're heard. You're going to do your work in a space where you can be yourself authentically and create authentically, and they'll follow your lead, you know? So it all goes back to, punch myself in the face, all goes back to all of that, do you know what I mean? So yeah, if that makes sense.
And I mean, you've already had like so many amazing collaborations, and you have been featured as an artist yourself on other people's work, and then you've pushed other people's work forward with your productions. What would you say are some collaborations that have been very significant for you, where you've been not only grown career-wise, but maybe also as an artist and as a producer?
That's a good question. Definitely the K-pop thing this year, in February, that was good. I produced this girl band called Hearts to Hearts. It was their debut single, and it went almost double platinum within like 2 weeks, which is crazy. I mean, K-pop numbers are just crazy, but I really liked that song because I originally made it with Flo, the girl band from the UK. I helped develop them. It was one of the first songs we had made, and it was kind of like, it's a bit quirky, it's a bit different. It's not like what you would expect even a K-pop band to release. Even some of the fans were like, they love it, but they're like, this is not what we expect. Like, it was just a bit different. But that was really cool because I think people could hear my sound a bit and how quirky and a bit left it is, and unpredictable. So that changed a few things, and it definitely made my trips to LA this year like a lot more significant, like the rooms I was in, and the people I've been meeting and working with. So I'd definitely say that's been one of the biggest shifts, besides the K-Tronada thing. But yeah, I don't know. The K-pop thing is good because you get noticed like quite like internationally in a way as well, like by America, by UK, by Korea, different rooms. Because K-pop's quite a big thing right now. Everybody wants a bit of it. So all the publishers, all the labels, all the execs are looking at who's doing what, who's doing this.
Speaking of publishers and labels, what would you say are like business partnerships for you that really push you forward as well?
That's a good one. I can't say I've really done many business partnerships. I've been published. I've been with my publisher since 2018. They're great for like giving you money and like helping you out. That's great. Like not all publishers are really hands-on with like putting you in sessions. So I always will say like really like reach out to the people you want to work with and really network. I've always done that. Like I manage myself. I don't have a manager, just because I feel like I've had managers in the past, and I always find that I'm the one bringing so much in, and I find it exhausting to be then giving somebody 20% of something and then being like micromanaging my calendar. I just feel like the drive has to come from you, because nobody wants it more than you and knows what's right for you, okay? So like, and as a producer, just like, I don't know, just keep posting things and sharing things and networking. But going back to your question, business partnerships and labels are great. Labels are great if they're the right fit, right? So it could be a distribution deal where they give you a really low amount, you keep 65% of your master, so it's kind of almost like it's an indie deal, basically. They're really friendly, especially for like producers or producer artists, you know, for you guys, if that's what the route you want to go down. And then major labels, you know, they bigger money, bigger commitments, you know, they're taking 80% of the master, you're only keeping 20%. So they're taking a lot of money, they're giving you a lot of money, invest in it, but there's a lot of restrictions that come with that. You lose a lot of like artistic control to some degree. There's a whole team managing it, which is great if you have your sound perfected and you know what you are and you have your whole branding down to a T, and there's not anything that you need to come in and intercept. But a lot of us, like, we think we have that, but then someone comes in and they're like, oh, if we just do this a little bit and just change this a little bit. So like major labels are cool if you're like very much where you are, and if they're coming in where you are, like, you know where you're at with your music, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to them, this is the project, this is this, and they're like, yeah, signing it. Not, I want to get signed, and then they're kind of like questioning all the sounds and things. And I think that's where it can become a bit, I've seen it so many times with so many artists where it's very meticulous and it's disheartening for them. So I just think it's like, if you're getting into bed with a major label, know what you're getting into bed with. And if you're going with a distribution deal, know that you're going to have more artistic control, in fact, more so like complete control, which is good for establishing and building for the long term, you know? So.
Also, if you're wondering what these different deals are, we're going to get into that later. Another question, you were talking about the fact that you don't have a management right now, right? So how much time do you spend then with like admin and maybe, you know, managing yourself?
Yeah, I have a lawyer. I have a music lawyer. So he'll look over any like agreements or, which you should all make sure you get a lawyer. I'm sure many of you maybe already do. So I don't want to sound condescending or patronizing or anything. But yeah, music lawyers are like, don't do anything without a music lawyer. Because I learned that when I was like 17, I signed a management agreement, and without a law, like without a legal representative, and it got me in trouble. But I manage it by just, I write a lot of notes, I journal a lot, I set my goals every week or like every month of what I'm going for. I'm ticking things off, I'm chasing things up. And I also feel like with management, with managing yourself, you've got to take your emotion out of it. So like, if I'm like sending something to pitch and they don't respond, I don't care about the rejection, because I know if I sent the song to somebody, I know that that song's good enough, it's just maybe not the home for them. And that's like, I can stand on that. And I really, truly believe that if you truly believe in something, don't be afraid of the rejection. Just keep going. You need to be like, you need to become like, rejection needs to be able to hit you and you're like, hey, you're like dancing with it. Do you know, like seriously, like, so going back to what you're saying about managing, I just think it's like staying on top of what your focus is and what you're trying to do. And then, you know, just doing it, basically. Making the music, reaching out to people, following things up. Don't take it deep if they don't respond. Keep going. Repeat. you know.
And another thing, actually, that is also related to managing is negotiations. You know, like when you go into collaborations, into sessions, or somebody reaches out to you, how did you learn to negotiate over time? Like even like pricing and you know, how do you go about that?
That's a good question, because that's something I used to be afraid of. Because I used to always want to be the sweet one and never ask for too much. But like, you just get to a point where you have to know your worth, and you just have to sit with yourself and be like, this is what I know is the right amount, or you know, like if it's production fee, is something. Ask your peers, or like sit with yourself and reflect on it and look at the situation. Are they with a major deal? Are they with this? So like, it's always good to, when negotiating things, is to look at the big picture of it. Like, who are you dealing with? Are you dealing with a major label? Okay, so they have budget. Like, okay, find a nice amount. Are you really good friends with the artist? And is your relationship with the artist more important than that? Like, are you going to work with them for the next album? So you don't want to cut your nose off to spite your face. It's a saying that we say, like, you don't want to, like, you know, just to get one check then lose out a relationship. So like with negotiating, it's always looking at like, put it on a piece of paper, look at the situation, like look at the scenarios of it, and like I just think you just got to back yourself. You just got to believe in yourself, and I think that's all that. When you're just sure of yourself and you believe in yourself, and you're like, I don't know, you just negotiate it. You're right. Does that make sense? I hope that helps.
Does that make sense?
Does that make sense to you
It
guys?
makes sense to me.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope I gave that right.
And also speaking of believing in yourself, have things like imposter syndrome or like performance anxiety ever been an issue?
Of course.
And how do you work through that? How do you push through?
Just remind yourself. Like, don't forget like what you're doing and who you are and like what you're doing it for. Like, listen to your music, remind yourself, like, don't forget how great you are. Like, and in the most humble way. It doesn't need to be egotistical. It's just like, of course, I've had imposter syndrome all the time. Like, I just filmed something on Tuesday for like our tour, and I'm freaking out, like, oh my God, like just shaking. Like, it's normal. Like, it's good to get nervous. It shows that like we're alive and our heart's beating, you know. But imposter syndrome, I think it's just like, just shake it off. Just try to shake it off, and don't listen to your mind and your thoughts and your doubts too much. Just flick them away. But they still be there. But it's like, just run away from them. You know?
Into the work, into the music.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I also always say that if you're not nervous anymore, it means something is off. Like you've completely either dissociated totally or you're like dead, because
Exactly.
as long as you care about what you're doing and as long as you're an artist, you will have fears and you will be nervous about stuff and you will care so much. It's like parents who care a lot for their children, they worry all the time, you know?
Yeah,
it's like the
it's
same
true.
with the music as well.
Exactly.
And coming back to the music a little bit, because now we've been also talking business, you know. What would you say is more important for you as a producer, like having like your own style that's very distinct, or being very versatile?
Good question. I'm quite broad and versatile, I'd say, but I think if you can find your signature sound, and I think it goes back to like even talking about Kaytranada, is why is Kaytranada sound so good? It's because he consistently uses the same kick, the same pad sounds, the same bass sounds, and he's just rinsed and repeated it. He has a sound. Timbaland, Pharrell, you know, so I guess it depends what you're going for. If you wanna be known for having this distinct sound, and that's what you want, then rinse and repeat. If you want to be able to cross genres and, you know, be more versatile and broad, then your kind of thing is just to make excellent productions and excellent music, and it just sound amazing, like Jack Antonoff. Like, he just makes great productions, you know. It really depends what you guys are all going for and what you personally want. I would probably say I'm something in the middle. I wouldn't say I have there's certain things and sounds that I use that are in a lot of my productions that haven't come out yet, that are coming out in the next year or two, where you definitely hear more of a sound. And I'll show you guys some of those things of how I've achieved them when we do the breakdown. But there's also sometimes, you know, I just go for just a well-produced type sound. So again, it goes back, the question goes to you guys and to ourselves. It's like, what are we going for? Distinct sound, something that people know when they hear it straight away, or just an incredible production that people are like, this rocks, you know? So it's one of whatever you want.
How would you say that being an artist informs how you work with other artists when you produce for them?
How would I say it one more time? It's like,
being an artist yourself,
yeah,
who puts out music and who writes songs, a songwriter, you know,
yeah.
how does that inform your work with other artists when you produce for others? Or
I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I find it so funny when people say artist nowadays, because I haven't released anything for such a while, and I don't feel like I identify as an artist anymore. But I definitely can take the experience of being an artist and knowing certain things in the studio, like do any of you guys sing? Put your hands up if you sing. Yeah? Okay. So you guys know, like, when you get an idea, like a melody in your head, you want to lay it down really quick, right? So as a producer, having that awareness of, like, if you're making something and you're like just vibing yourself, but this artist is now ready to put something down, you need to record that quick because they want to capture that. So I definitely have learned from my own experience, like the urgency of needing to record something instantly to capture it, and how, if you don't get it, how infuriating it can be. Because I've worked with producers as well as an artist, where I want to record something and they don't get it quick enough. Do you understand what I mean? Where they're like too busy in the idea and you're like, come on, I want to lay it down. Like, so that's something I've learned from being an artist myself, and also working in certain rooms, especially in LA, like with certain people, like they want to record, turn the mic on, press the record. Like, so that's definitely something I would say I've learned, and like the awareness of that, and also the awareness of being adaptable, and really sometimes letting them lead of the way of what they want, because you are a producer. And I guess it depends again where you want to sit in that, you know. So yeah, I hope that answered that question.
It did. And what's like, do you have like a process for like understanding what, let's say, a new artist that you start working with needs, or even when you go into like new genres, you were mentioning K-pop, do you have like a way of approaching that?
Communication is finding out what they want. Maybe you'll play a few sounds with them, play a guitar, play some chords. It's communication verbally and musically, right? Because you can talk about something and then hear it and it be completely different to what you've spoken about, but the sound will evoke something different. So it's just communicating, finding, pardon me, like a sound, a synth. They might play a reference track. They might play, I don't know, Mariah Carey or something, and they're like, I like this sound here, or I'm trying to get the aesthetic of this, you know. So it's communication musically and verbally. That's it.
And I just want to get a little bit also into like production processes. Like, do you start based on loops, and then how do you turn them into arrangements, or is it more of an open process?
Varies, honestly varies. It depends who I'm working with, what I'm working on. If, say that I'm just loading my laptop up right now and I'm going to make something in front of you guys, I'll probably maybe pull up Arturia and find a cool synth, and maybe just find a sound that just sounds sampley. I like to find things that sound like 3D and quirky and like just a bit different, just because anything that's just too straight and normal is, I find, quite boring. So sometimes I'll start with a sample. Sometimes I'll like go through a sample folder. Sometimes I'll use Splice. Sometimes I'll maybe an artist will bring something in and be like, we want to use this. It really does vary, but I definitely would say either way of however I create, my process is always the same. The way as soon as I've got the starting piece, like say that's the intro or whatever, I'm always quickly trying to arrange a structure. So I'm straight away, okay, that's the intro, that's going to be the verse, that's going to be the pre, that's going to be the chorus, because then you can work backwards and work forwards at the same time of knowing what's coming in next. So sometimes I'll build up the whole song in like the first 8 or 16 bars, and then it's just about taking things out and adding things in. So add it in straight away, get all the ideas that are like on fire, like get it all in, and then just take it out, because less is more. And then that's your big section there, that's the chorus, and take it out. So
Do you have like some plugins or like gear that you couldn't live without?
I love Arturia. I love the OP One Fill by Teenage Engineering. It's a little compact synth, but it's very powerful. I love all Sound Toys stuff. If you guys use Sound Toys, oh, the best. I also love the RC20, and I also couldn't live without auto-tune because I just love it. What else have we got? There's this plugin by UVI. They've made like an emulation of the emu stuff, like the SB1200. They're like old drum machines and synthesizers. That's cool. I'll show you some of the favorite synths I have. And the last thing I couldn't live without is probably Serato sample. I use it for everything, just for drums, reversing something. It's just great. It's just a quick way of like making something sound different straight away. And I'll show you guys how I've used Serato sample quite a lot in a recent record that I'm going to show you guys. Yeah.
All right, I think we're coming to the end of this talk. I want to know if anybody has any questions that they want to ask now.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we did it all. We did it all in that session. So I think it was like me, Trey, and Craig. We were like, so I tend to, when I do sessions, and I try to incorporate into all of my sessions, once we've got like the main production idea or the beat or whatever, get on the microphone and record melodies. I always find that they are your strongest melodies, honestly, I swear. So we just were riffing just melodies, and I found with Craig, especially when I work with Craig and also with myself, I tend to write syllables to my melodies. So I write to my melodies. So I'm like da 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 da. So I'm gonna then have to write lyrics that match that rhythmic melody. So sometimes that can be really annoying, like super annoying, because it's like you've done this crazy rhythm and it's like, how am I going to even fit a word in here? Or I'm trying to rhyme a word that doesn't even rhyme. But that was the process. We got the beat, we were super inspired, we laid down the melodies, and then we just started writing the lyrics to the melodies and just let the song kind of set the mood. Like, we've got it good. It was like, it's about being braggy and a bit obnoxious and like, you know, don't worry about the tag, go throw it in the bag because I got it good. It's like him being like, I got money, like swaggy. But it's just like, that's how the beat felt to us when we wrote it. So it just matched the vibe. And I think like sonically, that's how I find a lot of like, unless an artist is coming in and being like, I feel really sad, I'm depressed, and like I want to write a sad song. Like a lot of the songs, I just allow production to set the tone for them and inspire them. And I just try to always make something upbeat that feels happy and like infectious. That's always my aim, but sometimes it goes left and it goes a bit like dark or weird, or, you know. So yeah, I hope that answered the question. But yeah, and also actually saying with international sessions, you were saying, it's interesting you asked that, because you are right. Sometimes there are just producers that just produce, I just think it depends on like who's in the room. Some producers, especially in LA, like they'll turn around and they start like giving they'll just randomly say like lyrics or words. So like if you, I always say no suggestion's a bad suggestion. If you hear something, like never be afraid to throw it out there. Just don't be afraid of rejection. Like again, no suggestion is a bad suggestion. And anybody that like, you know, makes you feel stupid for it is like, if they had landed the lyrics straight away, they wouldn't be needing a suggestion. So
I think that's also one thing that they say in songwriting sessions is like first let all the suggestions come in and then it will even itself out over time anyways. Like
definitely.
if everybody's in it for the best possible version, then you will agree on what's best for the song.
Absolutely.
Anyways.
Exactly.
Do you have did you have people mentoring you?
No.
Because these days we have so many, like, okay, now we're having this masterclass and you're giving like so much advice and there's like so much more programs that do that. And is there some piece of advice or something that you would have loved that somebody had told you early on or like helped you with?
I wish I had a version of me like when I was 16. That's why I'm glad that I can like give you my insights of certain things, you know. But no, I think that's kind of probably what's good about it is navigating it. It's like there's no path to follow to some degree. So it's like working it out, kicking the doors down and being like, no, I'm coming through. I don't care if you don't want me in here. Like, yeah, it's just like, yeah, no mentor. Just music was my mentor and determination, I guess. So.
Great, thank you. We look forward to more of what you will share with us later. Yeah.
Oh. Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. I know that. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Ignorance. Well, comparison is a thief of joy, right? So it's one of those things where if you choose into, it's like having be conscious about what you're absorbing and what you're looking at, right? Because if you're comparing yourself, that means you're looking at something to compare yourself to, unless you're doing it in your mind, which then is also just like, just stop listening to the doubtful thoughts. And something that I would like to say is like, I had that for years. Like for years, I've had the imposter syndrome. And sometimes I get it, a little bit of it, and I'm like, and then I'm like, no, I'm actually okay, I've got this. Like it goes away. It does go away with time because every day that you're doing this and you're honing in on your craft, you're strengthening in mental ways, in physical ways, and in your skill. So like it does go, but I think there's something beautiful about having that because it keeps you humble, and it's like, and it's pure, because we're human, aren't we? Like if we just think we're amazing, that's just ego, and it's just like, and that's not endearing, that's not nice, that's not like, it's not. So it's part of it, and that's, I don't know, it's, you just don't listen to the thoughts that take you off your course. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, and question why you're talking to yourself like that. Don't talk to yourself like that. Replace them with kindness. As soon as you feel that thought come in, just be like, nope, and try and enforce a positive thought. That's what I did. I've tried to train my mind to not think those things, because we really can go anywhere with our mind. Our brain is so powerful that like if we just focus on something that we're not supposed to for 1 minute, we'll be anxiety ridden, thinking like the world's closing in. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's where you put your focus to. And it sounds like your focus is in the music, so just keep it there and just block out everything else.
I think what you said also now, to have this self-doubt sometimes and this self-criticism, it can also be a good thing
Yeah.
to push you towards a point where you get constantly better, but not with the underlying thought of you're not good enough, but just you love to grow, you
This
know?
is it.
And also what I was thinking is really look at your environment. Do you have a supportive environment too? Because music business can be quite difficult to navigate, and not everybody just wants what's best for you, you know? So I think you need to be a bit radical also about the environment that you create for yourself. And it starts, as you said, in your head. And actually, one thing that I learned recently is that when you talk out loud to yourself, it engages different brain regions than when you just think.
Facts.
So when you talk out loud and you say positive things out loud to yourself, you can, like, there's neuroplasticity, your brain can change.
Yep.
You know, so say the nice thing to yourself. What would you say to yourself if you were your best friend? Be your best friend, you know? I think that's super important also. Sorry, I'm not the interviewee.
No, that
I'm
was
just
beautiful. That was
interviewing you, but-
beautiful. No, it's true. It's like they say like words are spells. I'm super like funny about like how people speak over your life, like or into your life. So
Yeah.
I think like you said, if you just say things out loud or you journal, just it's reinforcing positivity. You know, manifestation. Do you guys believe in that? Like, do you believe in manifestation? The power of the mind is crazy. If you can visualize it, you can see it, you can have it, you can touch it. I believe in it. So like so when you know that, don't think negative, because then you're gonna bring that. You don't want to bring that. So when you know how powerful the mind is with manifestation, only think positive and only think good on things that you want to see happen, and write them down. I always thought that, like, I've always felt like whenever I've wanted something, I write it down, and obviously I do the work to make it happen, but I've put it out to the universe for it to conspire to happen, and I've said it. Power of the mind.
Thank you.
Telling you.
Thank you so much. I think that's a great way to close this
Peace out.
interview, this exchange. Thank you so much. Lauren Faith, thank you for sharing. And obviously you can keep up with what Lauren is doing, you know, you're on all the socials, I imagine, and
am.
on all the streaming platforms.